Well, welcome everybody. This is Jan Stringer, and I'm here in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And I'm very thrilled to be doing the call today in a Zoom-i-nar, as I called it in the email. And I'm very appreciative that you were able to hop on today for just a little while. We'll be here for as long as you want to stay, but usually about 45 to an hour. What I'd like to do today is share with you a little bit of what I said in my email. If that got you here or the book got you here, it doesn't matter what got you here. But one of the things that I know about harnessing the law of attraction in your business is that that's a really big concept to get your arms around. And many of us were just doing things innately. When I first started the company in 2000, I mean, we were talking dark ages then, that the company was basically the culmination of myself and my partner Stacy at that time. She left the business about 4 years afterwards. But we started it based on the information that we were getting from ourselves. It wasn't a book. It wasn't a workshop that we went to. We just started experimenting. And let's see, got a little background noise. If you want to mute, that'd be great. I'm going to just mute everybody for a moment. You can unmute yourself if you, and I'll unmute the lines just a minute if you're on the phone. But it was out of the ordinary to apply law of attraction to business. But I discovered that I was actually doing that just as a natural way of doing business that was unique. And that's how this whole thing got started back in the dark ages of the year 2000, which seems so long ago now because the internet wasn't even a real viable thing at that point. I still used a day timer at that point. I didn't have a website. I didn't have a business card. All I had was an idea. And so if I do anything but leave you with an inspiration today would be your day to know that whatever your idea is that's brewing inside of you, that's building inside of you, that really, really, really wants to be born through you as a business, what I'm going to share with you today is how I did that, how I harnessed the law of attraction to put it to work for me in my own business. And I'm going to give you a tool today that you can get started with. I've shared with you in the Being Attraction book. Many of you are here because you downloaded this copy of the book that I've been promoting recently. Maybe you came to me because you knew about this book. This was the first book that got everything started. So before I jump too far ahead, I'd love to just say hello to a couple of you and ask you, what attracted you to be here today? And what would you most like to get out of it? Just, something sparked you and you said, I want to be there. And you took the time to be here. So who's brave enough to unmute or take your video off and just share with us today? What got you here? Anybody?
Hi, this is Lena. I'll be brave enough to step up.
All right. Thank you, Leah. We were just connecting over Facebook, so that was really
yes,
cool. Okay, great.
Exactly. And so what prompted me to be here today, for everyone else's benefit, is as I told Jan earlier, it's still, the first book is still one of my, most recommended books to people. I do coaching, I do training, I even, when I'm doing corporate training, if I have the right group in front of me, will give them, some tips from there in terms of defining their ideal client. And when I saw the new book, downloaded it immediately, haven't gone ahead and read it yet, but what really attracted me to that is really where I focus on everything in terms of training and coaching is who are you being? And I don't even really use the word the law of attraction anymore.
That's a really interesting thought. I love that you said that. Yeah.
And it is I mean, I had a meetup years ago that I still have it just because of the title of it, which was Living in Attraction, which was still all very much about who are you being? Because Wayne Dyer's, quote of, you do not attract that which you desire, you attract that which you are, is something that I just really hung on to. And so who are you in it all?
Yes.
And so I'm just looking to see how does the book and what you're doing now, how does that happen to match with what I'm doing?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Well, that's good. I'm glad you're staying connected with me over the years through the books and now Facebook and the Zoom-i-nar. And Wayne Dyer mentioned that quote, but I wanted to let you know that actually there's a law I guess you call it a law or a truth that's written in Sanskrit. And may not have say this exactly right, but it's the essence is established in being, then perform action. So, I mean, this is not my truth. It's a universal truth that's been around for thousands of years. So,
wow, that's awesome. And that also leads me to, I am working at a wellness center, director of operations at a wellness center, and we teach Reiki, but we take it back down to the root of it, which is more meditative and finding true self.
Right.
And that's how you hold the space for others.
That's right.
So,
okay.
Cool.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks, Leah, for being here. And somebody else, what got you to be on the Zoom-i-nar today?
Okay, I'll go.
Thanks, Tammy. Hello again. I remember connecting with you in my last Zoom-i-nar, so yes.
Okay. So why am I here? I didn't even really read your email, quite honestly. I was like, okay, she's having another one. The first one was good, and I haven't finished the book, but I read it in between some other books, and I'm like, oh, so I'll just go on and see what she talks about.
Well, good. Good for you. It doesn't matter why you're here or what got you here. Point is, you're here. And I noticed on the chat, Thania, I think I always screw your name up, but I apologize if I didn't say that right. She said, I've been attracted to your energy since I met you. I love to learn from you. Not sure how to unmute or make my camera work. So anyway, you're here and you can listen in. And if you want to say anything, I can help you with unmuting. I'll unmute you in just a minute. Anybody else? What got you here today? Anything special brewing in your life that you would, like, if you could wave your magic wand and have a result out of being here today, what would that be? Maybe that's another way to look at what got you here.
I'll go. So the main reason that I'm here is because I've been struggling to make my coaching business support me instead of me supporting it, and anything that helps. So if I can hear one thing that gets me 2 steps closer to reaching my goal, then that's why I'm here.
Okay, good. That's perfect. Very, very good. And what is your goal? Like when you say 1 or 2 steps closer to reaching my goal, sometimes we need to be a little more specific, and I'll show you in our strategic attraction tool how you can do that. But any thoughts off the top? What would be ideal for you?
Right now, ideal for me would be to earn income from my coaching business of $5,000 a month.
Okay.
And that would be 10xing my business right now.
There you go, 10xing. I love that. All right, well, let's do that. Everybody take a moment. I want you to write down a goal, because there's no sense in taking time out of your day that it's not really going to count. And I believe that a goal written, with a pen and a piece of paper is so powerful, because what gets created in these kind of calls is a lot of positive energy that is the culmination of all of these people coming together, is greater than if I'm sitting at home by myself. We could probably all agree to that. And so what we want to do is write a goal of something that if you could, like I said, wave your magic wand, have anything you want, what would that be? And what I'd like you to look at, sometimes we make our goal too big. I'd like you to look at the baby step to your goal. So like, is it Liddy? Did I say that right? Liddy? Like 5,000 in a month is a big goal if you're coming from 0 right now. So a baby step might be 1,000 or 500 or even 100. You know, in my early days, if I found a quarter on the ground, I'm like, yay, it's about to happen. You know, I found a quarter. You know, it had nothing to do with my business, but it's signs that what you want is on the way. I call that signs of land. So write your goal, and, you know, just you don't have to declare it out loud or share with everybody what your goal is. I want you to really focus on putting today's energy towards achieving that goal. And then you can write me later and tell me how you accomplished it. So one of the things that I wanted to share with you today, I know somebody mentioned, you know, that she doesn't even refer to law of attraction anymore. It's about being. Well, that really hit the nail on the head for me, because when I wrote the first book, Attracting Perfect Customers, I didn't even know what made people, why did it work? Like there was a strategy involved, and when I worked with a lot of people using the strategy, and it seemed to work better for some than for others. And so I was curious about that. Why is that? And when I looked or talked deeper with people that were succeeding or not succeeding, I realized what came along with that strategy is a beingness, a being. You could look at being a variety of different ways. My being is what people see in me that walks in the door. When I walk in the door or I come on a Zoom, there's an immediate being that's present. And some days that's not very good. So, you know, my strategy that I share with you today is how to create your being to be one that draws to me or draws to you exactly who you want to be working with. And so number one is, if your goal, let's say your baby step goal is to attract one client pays me, you know, whatever a good number would be for you to start with. Let's say it's your very first client. You know, I charge my very first client $25, I think, you know, and sometimes we just have to get used to asking for money. Sometimes we do it for free, which I don't recommend, but your goal, your baby step goal, what I'd like you to do is to shift now from, I don't have a client that pays me that, shift now to being, I am being someone who attracts a client like this. Every day, in order for me to start attracting clients, I had to start being who I wanted to be seen as. And I wanted to be seen as successful. Now, every day, if I'm looking in the mirror and I'm realizing I don't have that client or have the cash flow in my business that I want, I can stop, take a few minutes, and do what I talk about in this book, which is to shift my being. And that is the fourth step of the strategic attraction plan. So we're on the right playing field by starting with being, even though it's step number 4 in the plan, because right off the get-go, whatever got you here, maybe it was something that wasn't the most inspiring thing. I didn't have enough clients, or I wanted to learn more, or maybe I was dealing with something earlier that you would like a resolution for. Whatever it is, there's a being associated with that. And a friend of mine was sharing with me that in Asian countries, for example, I can think of Japanese particularly, that there's like when an athlete, for example, from an Asian country goes to the Olympics, that there seems to be in their culture just no room for failure. And I believe it's built into their culture that they are able to do whatever they want to do. They don't have to wonder, am I able to do this? So what I'd like you to do is take on, put on the hat of who you're being today is that I am able, and then fill in the blank. That should also be one of your goals. So I am able to attract the kind of clientele I want. I am able to make $5,000 a month for my coaching practice. And so that's what I call a being shift. And when I realize that inside of me, I'm thinking over and over, I'm not able to accomplish this, that's when it's a red flag, because you are so powerful that you are attracting exactly who you're being. And if the results you're getting are not what you want, it's because you're being that your results are that. If my results are no sales or not enough clients, that's who I'm being. And so the good news about that is that all I have to do is start shifting my being, that who I am is someone that has this kind of a clientele. So any questions or comments? Did that ring for anybody? Ring true? Yes, of course. All right, so yeah, go ahead. I'm going to unmute everybody. Okay, everybody is unmuted if you wanted to make a comment.
Absolutely rings true. Because you just can't have what you want if you're not being that person. And it's like there's nothing, in my opinion, there's nothing wrong with who you are or what it is. And one of the reasons that I stopped using the term law of attraction is because I found that it was starting to just go ahead and have too much bullying in it of, oh, well, you're responsible for everything, and not allowing people to feel what they're going through. And so you have to feel the stuff and work through the stuff to be the person who now goes ahead and does ABC.
Right.
And attracts all these things. So 100% on.
Okay. Very good. All right. So when you looked at your goal, let's say your goal is to have a new client by the end of this week, who would you have to be to have that happen?
Somebody totally aligned.
Yes. Totally aligned in what?
And focused on that goal.
Yes.
Like, yeah, for example, I want to sell 2 programs a day, but sometimes I feel that that's too much. It's like something that I feel that is not possible right now because I'm scared of some technology or marketing things I don't know already. Like I'm not ready. I always have this, I'm not ready yet. And that's always stopping me.
Well, if it's always stopping you, it kind of makes sense to stop saying you're not ready. Your whole being is I'm not ready. So think about it in this terms. If I walk into a networking function and I'm the being of I'm not ready, it's like you're walking around with a stop sign in front of you, or your hands are up going, I'm not ready, I'm not ready. So who would you like to be seen as instead of I'm not ready?
Yeah, I like to be seen as an expert in what I do. And I think that my excuse is I don't know how to do the marketing part. And that's why my growth is very little and it's slow because I don't know how to do this or that marketing, or I don't have a website, or I don't have, all these technological tools that I haven't found the way to do it or something like that.
Well, all right, there was a couple of things in there. So every time I say I'm not able to, like I'm not able to do marketing. I don't know about marketing. How would I never did marketing. I don't really know about marketing. How am I going to build my business? That's a particular way of being. And you walk around believing that that's who you are. Do you think all the marketing gurus that are coming through on your internet are, one day they just they flipped the switch from they didn't know marketing to now they do? And that's all that's really, I hear in what you're saying, is that you're listening to a program in your head. I hate to even use that example, but you're listening to a conversation that you've played before over and over. So what if and you're being very successful at it, right? What if you were to flip the switch and create something of a being shift for yourself today? And that says something like, I am winning at sales and marketing. I have everything I need to market my business. I'm an expert in marketing and sales. Now, what would that be like if you were to shift?
Oh, it feels lighter.
Yeah?
Yeah, I have everything. I really like that quote. Like, I have everything I need to market my business.
That's right.
Actually, I'm writing it down.
Good. Well, even, I'm just looking at in the window of the videos, we've got two marketing experts that I know for sure. John Paduchek's on the call. He's video marketing. He's the guy that held my hand to do my first Facebook Live on Monday. And Marima is a international expert in selling. So you're getting yourself in the right neighborhood, I would say. For somebody that thinks she's not an expert in marketing, you're attracting some very successful marketers on this call today. And so you could look at it that way too, that what you want to do is surround yourself with people like this.
Yes.
So good job. You got yourself on this call and you drew in some hot people, some hotties to help you with your business. So that's how it works. That's how it works. You had, I'm just going to guess you had a desire that, some argument inside of you was arguing internally. That inner bully is what I called it Monday in our interview. The inner bully is saying, you don't have enough marketing. You don't know how to use technology. You don't know, And so the first real shift, or the first step that I would say that this call is weaving its own magic, I can see, is that you got to shift that internal voice to get started. And so that's really the first step, is recognizing I have a goal, and then create your being to be a match for your goal. It's real simple. If you have no goals, guess what? If you were an airplane pilot and you didn't have any goals and you stepped into the aircraft and you went into the driver's seat and you get on the loudspeaker, you tell your people out in the airplane, hi, this is your pilot speaking, and today we really don't know where we're going. We're just going to see how far this tank of gas will get us. That's us without having a specific goal. So I'm glad we started with goals today.
Yeah, thank you. And I really feel that sometimes I forget about everything what you're saying. I'm like, okay, I already know it, but I don't do it. And for some reason, I just sabotage myself by not having these affirmations.
Yes.
And no, I'm very grateful. Thank you so much.
Hey, I do it too. Don't worry. Okay. Tammy, I think you were raising your hand.
So when you said we're successful at not being successful, or at the things that we see that we're not doing correctly, to look and see how successful we are at creating that if we shift what we're focusing on, we could be just as successful doing that. That's how powerful we are. But we all forget a lot of the time. We get caught in the overwhelmment of some of it, and what we've been doing for so long that we forget the other parts we know that work.
Right. Why do you think that is? I mean, we know all this stuff. It's not like I'm telling you anything new, but why do you think it's so easy to forget?
I think it's old patterns, just what we're, how we've been taught and conditioned and programmed to do these things and to look at it. And a lot of people that we see confirm it, or confirm it in their own way.
Yeah.
And then we try to get into spaces where people are more thinking like we think. Because I work with energy, and I do it all the time with the people I work with and with myself, and I'm always catching myself.
Yes.
And it's that comfort place of, it's easy, not even thinking about it. It's easy just to fall back that way. And it takes the effort to go, well, I caught myself doing that again, and making it a change until that's the normal, until that isn't, we don't fall back into the old one.
Right.
But the longer you're here, the more it's imprinted. So.
Yes, something you said, it's the patterns that we have, like we get into these old familiar patterns, or the people around us seem to remind us of our patterns, and it's hard to break out of that mold when, our environment is supportive of the old patterns that don't work. So, coming to these kind of calls is a really perfect example of getting around other people that are going to see me in a way of how I like to be seen. I mean, I guarantee you, if you go with me to my family's next reunion, there's nobody there that sees me the way you do. But, this is something that can be done. If you can see the very simple thing of what you just said, that my being can shift, is how I hear what you say, that I can catch it myself, but I can also surround myself with powerful people to expand me, then it happens quicker. Any other observation? All right, well, I wanted to talk also today how I harness the law of attraction is through strategic attraction planning. And that's what's in the book. It's the second part of the book if you're reading either one of the books. And the first book, Attracting Perfect Customers, has 4 steps. And then the Being Attraction book also has 4 steps. However, I've added a 5th step since either one of the books were published. And so I'll tell you about that in just a minute. But the Being Attraction book was actually, the notes from it were from the SACAT training that I taught in 2005. I taught the very first certification program that I call SACAT, and that stands for Strategic Attraction Coaching and Training. And that program was a way to get people using the strategic attraction plan, not only for themselves, but also for other people, their own clientele, and earning a profit. I mean, some people use it as an integral part of what they offer to their clients. Some people use it as keynotes. I mean, there's all sorts of creative ways. It's a creative process, so I like that. But so the strategic attraction plan is a strategy, and one of the things that I think that keeps us from being successful is that we don't create our own strategies. And so this strategic plan is something that you may do 100 of them over a course of time. I know I've done way more than that, but I changed over the course of time. So this is not a plan you do and you put in a notebook and stick away somewhere. Even if you did do that, it will still work for you, but you want to update it because this is a plan that's going to help you grow over time. And so let me just give you a little bit of the overall of the strategic attraction plan. In fact, you can do one now. I took a group the other day, looking for a blank piece of paper. Where did my plan go? Oh, here it is. All you need is one piece of paper. This is a plan that I did, I drew a line down the middle and one across, and that's the 4 steps in each one of those boxes, and then the back is the 5th step. So I'm going to give you the 5 steps today so that you can get started in shifting your being and start attracting more business to your client, adding more clients. But remember that baby step client. Once you have this attraction plan, then I'll talk to you about how you're going to actually kick it into action. So step number 1, and you can just write that in one of your, if you're doing the 4 square, just one of the squares. Step number 1, the title is to describe the qualities, characteristics, and attributes. Describe the qualities, characteristics, and attributes of my perfect customer. And that could be several kind of customers. It could be a coaching client. It could be a speaking client. It could be a corporate client. It could be, if you're interviewing for a job, it could be your employer. If you're a manager or you have employees, it could be your perfect employee. So this plan is about attracting a relationship versus a thing. And in Law of Attraction, a lot of the books are written about attracting a thing. Like, I want to attract a new house or a new place, a new car, or I call those things. But this plan is strictly about attracting a relationship. And so step 1, describe the qualities, characteristics, and attributes of my perfect customer. So go ahead and write down 3 things, at least 3 things. You can write more. But, you know, some of the things I wrote is they're ready for this. They refer me to others. They're on a spiritual path. They have the money to pay. They have or have read my book. Those are just some of the things I wrote in step 1. I do it this way because I don't want you to think it's a hard strategy. So many times you hear that word and it sounds like it's a hard thing. You know, it's not hard. It just needs to start. And that's what we're doing today. Step number 2, identify what makes me and my perfect customer tick. Identify what makes me and my perfect customer tick. And remember, I was talking about the law of attraction is kind of hard to get your arms around. Well, many of you have probably done the step number 1 in one form or fashion, like you think about it, or maybe you've written about it. Maybe you've had perfect customers and you want more like that. So you have an idea of their description. Where this plan is different and the teaching that I teach is different is that I go to step 2. And step 2 is to identify what makes me and my perfect customers tick. Because this is where that relationship starts to really get deeper. It sustains over time. And it's how you determine if this is a perfect fit for me. First, I need to know what makes me tick. And when I get to the real juicy nugget part of what makes me tick, I start to see that in certain people that I'm drawing to me. And so if you've read the books or you're going to read the book, either book, there's an example of being a lighthouse. And the lighthouse to me is a good metaphor for what our business is like, us and our business. And if you think of you as a lighthouse in your business, that your purpose in being in that business is send your light out. Like there's something you're so passionate about, something that means a lot to you. That's why you're in this business, and you're sending your light out. And the people that see your light are the ones that you're supposed to be working with. And so step number 2 is where I identify what my light is. What is that special thing? And that's unique to you. For example, for me, what makes me tick is being the voice of feminine spirit. And when I just hone down all the many things that make me tick into that simple statement, I realized it connected all the dots of my life together. Like, why was I so interested in, I did sculpture, I did weaving, I used to sew all my own clothes, I used to paint anything that had a white wall, I painted it. You know, I was always into something creative. I took art classes. You know, I took advanced tailoring for seamstresses. You know, like, I don't sew a bit anymore, but for a long time I was really into that creative mode. Why was somebody like me interested in something like business? And I realized through reading a book called The Artist Way, which is about rediscovering your creativity inside of you. And if you haven't read it, it's a wonderful book. And that, in fact, that's what got me to writing in the first place. I have a book that I started writing while I was reading The Artist Way, because that stoked my creative juices to start flowing. I was working inside of a corporation, and my creative juices were at an all-time low. You know, after I got out of, you know, being a young person who could take time to go to art classes, then I became a mother and a corporate salesperson, and I didn't have time to really do all those things I used to do when I was younger. And so when I'm working in this corporation, here's something that was so passionate to me sitting on the shelf. I didn't have time or energy. Well, I discovered that one of the reasons I didn't have time or energy is that I had let this very important part of me sit on the shelf. It went dormant. And how it started to showing up in me is in physical ailments. So, you know, I have this whole long story, but, you know, my neck hurt all chronically. I was physically tired. I was emotional all the time. And my needs weren't getting met. It was like a part of me was drying up. Well, I discovered this voice of feminine spirit was part of me that needed to be expressed. And so when I started my own business, I realized that my creative juices started to flow again, that I was expressing creativity. The way I did it when I was in college and high school was different, but business was my creative output, my outflow. And that got me moving again. And so, Voice of the Feminine Spirit, I wanted to awaken in other people whose creative sides, feminine, mostly intuitive, creative sides, not gender-based, but, you know, that we're all masculine and feminine energy. I wanted to bring that forward in more people. And that's how I started my business, is that I was determined to reawaken the feminine energy parts that we all have that allow us to be creative and make a profit in business. And so the strategic attraction plan is one of those tools that's balanced in both feminine and masculine energy. So it's the feminine energy that I get to bring my creativity and my imagination to it. And then it's the masculine energy that allows me to a structure, that law of attraction, you know, that big conceptual thing. I put a structure around it, and that's how I harnessed it to start working for me. And that's what a strategy is. And so strategic attraction, while those two words don't seem to really fit together, this is the background of what I'm sharing with you today. Any questions or comments before I go on?
I just wanted to say that, well, my name is Mary Madurado. For those who don't know me, I'm calling from Madrid, Spain. So it's almost 10 p.m. here. And I had taken the SACAT certification course a couple of times. And I wanted to say how useful this has been for myself, but I wanted to focus also on my coaching clients. How useful this has been for my coaching clients when they have discovered their tick. Sometimes has been like a violent reaction, like people getting emotional, people crying, people like, oh my God. And how this system has allowed to harness the law of attraction. I just wanted to mention just one anecdote that was very significant for me. I was working with a landscape business owner. He was a CEO of a company that did professional landscaping, very big landscaping jobs, $100,000 onwards. And I took him through the process, and one day he told me something very strange has happened. And I was like, okay, here we are. And he said that their business is not even on the street. It's in a building. It doesn't have a sign. It's not really advertised. But a client that was a perfect fit for them managed to find them and go all the way to their door and ring the bell and introduce themselves. And that is attraction. That's what we're talking about.
Yes.
So I wanted to mention this anecdote because it really blew my mind as far as, how harnessing the power of attraction, what it can do for you.
Yes, absolutely. Well, and the fact that you went through the training 2 times, you could probably tell what was the difference the first time and the second time. Just curious. Why would you do it twice?
Because every time I could go a little bit deeper in my own knowledge. I think that the first time around didn't get so much what made me tick. Now I have very clear that what makes me tick is personal transformation and the impact in business. So connecting personal transformation with business results. And that took a while. I think that sometimes it's we do it once, but then we can go a little bit deeper. And it has a lot of value for me. Also the community that was created every time I was meeting people that were becoming also resources.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. Good. Yeah. Thanks for that. Yes. And all right. So step number 3 in your 4 square is, I went blank on that, is specify what I want my perfect customers to expect of me. Specify what I want my perfect customers to expect of me. And think about those thoughts that you have that say, I don't know how to do sales and marketing, for example, or I'm not good at technology, maybe. And think about in terms of, well, what do you want your perfect customers to expect of you around sales and marketing? What do I want my perfect customers to expect of me around technology? What do I want my perfect customers to expect of me around fill in the blank? Anything that's not happening 100% the way you want it right now can be altered by getting in touch with what you really want. We're really adept at saying what, I don't want this, I don't want that, no, this isn't the way I want it, and not so much at saying what I want. I mean, just look at any relationship where you've blamed another person that you're not getting what you want from them. Anybody? So, yeah, it always looks like it's out there, but the reality is it's over here. And that's the good news, is that in step number 3, specify what I want my perfect customers to expect of me. This is where I get in touch with there's something I really want that's not happening. And it's up to me to get it. It's not up to anybody else. And the universe, however that works, when I get clear and focused about what I want, what do you think starts to happen? Anybody? What happens when I get clear and focused about what I want? What happens?
You keep seeing it everywhere.
You see it everywhere. That's right. Exactly. And if we are focusing, or if I am focusing on everything I don't want, what do you think I start to see? Everywhere. More, I don't want this, I don't want that, right? So it makes sense that this little 4-step, 4-square thing is where you want to put your attention. And when something's not happening the way I want it, step number 3 is where I work through why. Because there's always a reason, and it has nothing to do with outside of me. I mean, I remember, back in 2008 when the economy supposedly crashed. And everybody was saying, oh, there's no business. Nobody's buying. And all the businesses like mine are going out of business. Half of them don't even show up anymore. But for some reason, I was still doing business. And it was like, everybody out there is out bemoaning the horrible effects of the economy in the United States, at least. And instead of that, I was like, okay, there's still people to work with. I mean, even more when the economy may be doing whatever it's doing, there's always people that need my services. And I don't have to be everything to every person. I just have to be who I am with the right people. In fact, that's the whole essence of my business, is that if I get the relationships right, I'll have right business. Get the relationships right, click. It's just like a natural order of the day. So that's where we shift everything in step number 3. And then step number 4, declare who I am being. Like we started out our conversation today was about being, that before you do anything, keyword on do, before you do anything, anytime, whether it's start your day, go to the soccer game for the kids, go to the grocery store, or do a promotional Zoom-i-nar, whatever you're doing, or you meet with a client, you've got to put on your beingness. You've got to be who you want to be in that relationship with other people. And 9 times out of 10, we show the dark side of us, not the light side. So remember that the light is what people are drawn to you for. They're coming to you for your light. So it makes sense that you want to shine. And step number 4 is where I declare who that is. Who wants to share a being that you would like to be seen as? Anybody?
As an expert.
An expert. In what?
In making, helping them to be free of their limiting beliefs.
Okay. So who would you have to be an expert in what? To help people, in order for me to help people free their limiting beliefs, who would I have to be being every day?
Free.
Free for what? Free what? Who would you have?
Free. So free, free of my own limiting beliefs.
Yes. In other words, you can't sit around and stew in the pot of limiting beliefs all day long, right? If this is important to you, guess what you're going to be challenged on every moment of the day?
Yeah.
Limiting beliefs. Because the universe is going to serve it up to you. I am someone who frees people from their limiting beliefs. And so I get an opportunity, just when I declare my being, my husband walks in and says, I'm going to be late for dinner. And you say, no, you can't be late for dinner tonight. Tonight's the special lasagna that I'm making, it takes me 3 hours and I'm making it today and you're going to be late for dinner. You can't be that. Right out the window went this being that you just created 2 seconds ago. So in every situation, you've got to be that person that you want to be seen as. And the universe is going to serve you many opportunities. Tammy, did you have one?
Oh, I've been waking up every morning and saying I'm a person of increase for myself and others. imagining that everything I do expands not only myself, but those that I interact with and the collective whole.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I've been doing something similar. I've been declaring my being through a vision that I like to do before I start my day. With my eyes closed, so I like to see my energy field, the invisible field that we all have. And so out the front of me, let's see. Hello. Let's see, where did that go? Out the front of me, I see my field expanding as far as it can go. And then out the back of me, I see it expanding out as far as it can go. And then out to the sides. And when I expand it all the way out, I take this imaginary pin, this giant pin that will, like stick it out there. So there's my front, there's my side, there it is, and there's the back. So it's all, I'm like Gumby, like stretched out. And so I like to keep envisioning that I'm not just this little physical thing that I see in the mirror. I'm way bigger. And so my opportunities have been expanding as a result of that. And that helps me to see myself bigger than I may see myself just in a limited view. All right. So that's number 4. And then there's a 5th step that you won't find in the book. But if you want to turn around on the back of your 4-square page and write, take attractive actions and avoid dazzling distractions. And an attractive action for me is something that's in alignment with what makes me tick. So when I've worked through all the 4-square, I'm pretty much clear and focused on who I am, who I want to work with, who I have to be, and what makes me tick. I specify what I want in step number 3, the results that I want, and now I'm ready to take actions from this place. If I had tried to do actions before, it was that I was in the muck, like the actions kind of like trying to take actions to feel better, but it just creates more of the same. You've got to really shift your beingness, and you have to open your eyes and be more clear so that you can allow for the actions to take place from this aligned place of who you are. And so an attractive action, can be as simple as looking at your 4-square plan every day and adding to it. I noticed earlier, I ran by the grocery store, and there was somebody at the checkout that we just had a little chit chat. And I'm like, wow, personable. I liked that. So I wrote on my plan that I want my perfect customer to expect me to be personable, to reach out and to connect. I also wrote down in step number 1 that I want a quality that I like is that the people that I work with like the personal connection too. I hired a coach a few years back, and what I noticed is that there was no personal connection. It was just not any fun for me. It was like, I want to know, what your kids said today. I want to know where you're going this weekend. I like that little personal interaction with people. Yes, business is important, but I want personal connection. And I think that's what people usually want from me too. So step number 5 is where you have to start taking actions. And a lot of times when people tell me that they don't have enough sales, I'll ask, well, tell me about your marketing program. How's that going? What are you doing for sales and marketing? And half the time, they took their foot off the gas somewhere in that department. And so if you want to really start to attract customers, you have to drop the cloak of invisibility. You can't just hide out at home or in your business office You can't just stay on the computer. You have to actually connect with people. And so your plan, your strategy helps you harness the law of attraction to do that. Because you are now, once you really work with this 4 steps, I know we just touched briefly on all 4 steps, but when you take it on a deeper dive with yourself, you're going to know exactly who to work with, how they'll relate to you. You'll know what actions there are to take, and you'll know what your products and services are. A lot of times people don't buy because they're unclear on what you sell. You know, like, I don't know how I like her and I'd like to do business with her, but I don't know what she sells. And so that's what I found limits people, because they don't know what you offer. And that's what the SACAT program is all about. And just what I described, it's a deeper dive in understanding who you are, what's important to you, and how that relates to your business. It's a deeper dive in understanding what makes you tick and the people you work with, the people you serve. You've got to know that for yourself first. And then it goes on from there. Just all the step 3s of what do I want, and the step 4s of the being shifts and the actions I need to take. And that's what the SACAT is about. And that's how you can start putting the law of attraction to work for you, by giving yourself something that you already know. It's true. You already know everything that we went over today. But some reason, we just can't do it by ourselves. There was a book, the author passed away. I only know that because I had tried to reach out and talk to him. He wrote a book called Anam Cara. I don't know if anybody ever heard of it. The Book of Celtic Wisdom. Anam Cara. Anam Cara. And I liked it so much because it really was an example of what happens in my classes. Anam Cara is translated to soul friend. And what he talks about in his book is that we can't see our own soul. It takes another person to show it to us. And what I witnessed in all of the SACAT trainings, it's not that I'm so brilliant. I wish I were. I just put the right people in the right seats with the law of attraction and my strategic attraction plan. That's my forte. And then the magic begins, because soul friends start to come together and we start to help each other see our brilliance, see what's inside of our soul, of where I'm supposed to go, where am I supposed to give all these gifts, talents, and skills that I've been given. And it starts opening the door for everybody. Clients start to come, people start to make money. I mean, it's not the only thing, but more than anything, relationships get better, people get happier with themselves. We stop the struggle of making business so hard. Business isn't really that hard. We just make it that way. Well, at least I do. I can make it so hard, I just give myself a headache. But truthfully, business is very simple. And all it takes is having this foundational piece. Sometimes that's a missing piece if you've even started a business already. When you can come back and put this foundational piece in without tearing the house down, it will add value to what you've already started. If you're starting newly, it will give you a great start. And that's what the SACAT program is all about. And I'd love to have you guys come play. We have a new program starting on October 17th. And you can get started for as little as $197 a month. So I make it very affordable. It's a great place to play. And, Marima said, and some other people that are on the call today have been through the program more than once. And it just gets better and better because it helps you to really surround yourself with a community of like-hearted people. You're not alone. Got to give up that Lone Ranger mentality. None of us really want it anyway. but it helps you to have that goal present over a period of time. And that's what we need, is to, with everything that comes along in our day, we need the reminder of who we are in this business setting that we've chosen for ourselves, and we need the inspiration for other people, and that's what the SACAT is all about. It's a strong community. And then it's not an information course, I just want to tell you that. It's not something where you're going to have to pour through tons and tons of reading material. It's an experiential program, because who you are when you start won't be the same at the end. And that's really what everybody needs. They need to just kind of let go of the part that's aren't working, and to enhance and build up the parts that really are. That's my soapbox. So I love the program. It's my passion to do it. I would love to have you. And I hope you got some value. I gave you the whole kit and caboodle right today. You could read the book. You can work with what I gave you today. You don't have to buy a thing. But if you're still looking for somebody to play with, this might be the right group for you. And so see how it feels. That voice of feminine side of me is very much about listening to the inner gut. What is it telling me? Is it saying, yes, this is for me right now? Or my intuition says, well, yes, this is it. Let's do it. Or you need a conversation with me. You know, I'm also available for that. So to wrap up our call for today, look back at your goal when we started. What did you write down? What was that goal? And see if there's something you got out of today's call that maybe will help you reach that goal. Anybody? What did you see around your goal? Yes.
So for me to reach my goal, I have to do number 5, take attractive actions and avoid dazzling distractions.
Yes. It's right there, all of it. That's it. Somebody else, what did you see for yourself?
This is Lena. For
Yes.
me, it was the just needing to go back to doing this, because it's been a while since I've done my own.
Right.
And my goal was, and this just really got me back to my goal of something that I said last week, that because I had a fantastic week last week, and to declare who I am being. So just getting back to every day saying, I am, I get paid to live prosperously.
And create that being over and over every day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have been teaching the same material for almost 20 years, and I never get tired of it. So the being is it. The being is it. And tapping into what you love. That's what the second title the Being Attraction book, What Love Has to Do with Business and Marketing. When you tap into those two things, magic happens. And you get to work with people that you love working with. And it's a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
For me, I wanted to say that every time I get something new or just a reminder, something that I knew, what I realized again is that my perfect customer wants exactly what I want to provide. That I don't have to twist myself in knots like pretzeling, like they say in the US. And I forget, and then I go again to change myself and to move like that. That lighthouse that is moving. Oh, I can do this, I can do that. Stop. Because otherwise your perfect customer is not going to see you. Just stop and provide that light of what you want to do. On the other side, the perfect customer wants exactly that.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Beautiful.
Thank you for that reminder.
Yes, you're welcome. Anybody else? Something you got out of today that will make a difference for you?
Me.
Yeah. What'd you get?
So yeah, just having the avoid distractions and just take attractive actions. So I think everything is just a great reminder, and that's why every time that I see you, you are kind of like a mirror of what exactly I want to look like. And I really feel that it's not that hard. It's just being clear what I want, and having all this little 5 steps is, it's as easy as that, because every time that I focus on something, things happen. And it's like magic. But then sometimes I'm like, whoa, 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 it's so good that I can just handle it. And then I say, I can't handle it. It's just like this back and forth and back and forth. But I really need to make this in a way that I can see it every day and just never forget what's my goal.
Yes. That's right.
Thank you.
Good. All right. Well, come play in the SACAT program. You'll get to have lots of that. All right. Well, thank you for being here today. I'll send out some more emails. We're going to have another Zoom-i-nar on Friday. If you want to come back and hear some more, I'm going to do a little different each time, and I'll do some more next week. But you'll get a lot of experience, a lot of value, and if you're interested to know more about the SACAT program and how that might really play a part in your business growth, just send me an email, jan@perfectcustomers.com. We'll set up a phone call, and we'll look heart to heart if that's your perfect next step. If you want to contact me, my phone number is 505-795-5100. 505-795-5100. And I would be happy to chat with anybody. I also do text. If you want to text me, that's the number. And just thank you so much for being here. I love every one of you, and I appreciate your contribution to the call.
Thank you.
All right. See you soon.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you.